All right, time to do another video. It's been a while, and things get busy at the hospital and a lot going on. But let me go. This is a story that was kind of relayed to me through another chaplain, and I was just always before we get in discussion talks about things. But this discussion really was about friendships. We all have our friends. We have, and the old saying is that you can count the friends you have on one hand. In this particular case, it's really one or two, and in this particular case, to go even further than that, it's one friendship. These two guys, were together, and they kind of bonded together. But they started back in grammar school, went to junior high together, went to high school together, and as circumstances, they went to different colleges. But they were always together. They always kept in touch with each other. And the one person that the story was told to me, the one person really after he got out of college, things happened in his life that did not go well, really bad, and he just, he went into a deep depression to the point where he almost was homeless. He was almost homeless, and you heard the saying sometime, and people, they reach the bottom. There's only one direction you can only go up, and that's what happened. But this particular friend that he had took him in. And he was a mess. He was really mostly just, going on. To kind of give you more detail on why he had a depression. This was the case that the person was adopted. He found his real mother. And in this particular case, and I think what I understand now, things have worked out better. But there was a great disappointment. Things did not. He had certain expectations, and it didn't turn out the way they expected. And he had to deal with some realities on it. And I'm not going to get into a lot of details about it, but he had to deal with certain realities about it. And as a result, he just went into a very deep depression. I mean, it was like a nosedive. He was in a nosedive, and as I said, he was almost like homeless, and he was, God, he didn't feel like he deserved anything. He was just so hard on himself, and he felt such terrible guilt. He has to do with a mother and a son. There's a lot in this story, but I'm not going to get too many details. But you guys can relate. And he was like in destitution. He was just emotionally depressed, really down, and he was almost homeless. He was spending some time on the streets. And the way that was told to me, his best friend or that friend took him in. And you have to understand, sometimes you take friends in and they're going through some stuff. It is difficult to deal with. And this particular case, it was difficult to deal with. I mean, it wasn't like he was hostile at all, but he was just really depressed and just against himself. He was just, against himself because of what happened with this relationship with his mother. And he took him in, fed him, and provided. This person, other friend, was married at the time. And they took him in, and, he stayed with him for some period of time, and the friend just really stuck through him. I mean, really just kept building him up, giving him confidence that he can do some stuff. And the way that it was told to me is that person who really was really very depressed, one day was sitting, I think, at a park. He was sitting at the park bench and feeling very sorry for himself. Just totally feeling sorry for himself. And he just has this moment where he looks up and the world just keeps going. The world is just going on. As if it doesn't make any difference what he was going through, the world just kept on going. And you have to understand, sometimes there is a realization, or you can call it another way, aha moment. The world goes on. And whether you're in it or not, the world just keeps on going. And he had kind of an awakening that he was down on the dumps, and he was hard on himself, and he finally realized enough of what's going on here. So he went back to his friend, and they started having discussion. And you know what? He got out of it. He got a job. It wasn't a great job to begin with. He worked as I think it was a waiter or as a bartender, either one of the two, and climbed himself out. He climbed himself out of the depression that he was in. But his friend was there for him. Every step of the way, that person that fed him, they were just good to him. They supported him. Even though it was difficult, they were there for him. So time goes on, and he became successful, and actually got into banking business, whatever, and he started making some serious money. Whatever happened, it kind of separated for a time period. The friends, they kind of separated, and they were, sometimes your friends, you get in your own world and so on and so forth, and you're out of touch for some period of time. And as the way it was told to me, there was something that was nagging him. Something was really nagging him, and what was nagging him, there was something going on with his friend that took him in. There was something that was not, it was nagging him. He didn't know what was going on. He wanted to find out. To find out what happened here is that he couldn't, he called, he had a number, the person wasn't there, that friend was not there at that number. He looked on the internet looking for the name, nothing. No leads whatsoever. Hard to imagine. How could somebody get so lost? But it happened. The person, his best friend, was lost. He couldn't find any information, couldn't find the phone number to get in touch with. But he had this nagging feeling something was really terribly wrong. Something was nagging him. Some kind of an interconnection. We all kind of go through that with our friends at times. And it's just, he's going through this, and as I was told, I think he got married at the time, and he was telling his wife, and then he's sitting in a reclining chair, and some numbers pop in his head out of nowhere. Numbers, and he's kind of startled by this, and he gets a pen and paper, and he starts writing the numbers down, and it happens to be a phone number. A phone number. And who's the phone number for? His friend. Talk about forces at play here. Talk about things that, I talked about this many times, things go on, and the unexplained, that you can't expect. These numbers came in, and it was an actual phone number. The friend that he had lost, he couldn't find, that was his phone number. And he called him up. Yes, his friend was in need. His friend was in need. Terrible story, but anyway, it's terrible what happened. He too started going on real bad times, and he was there for him. In other words, what you put out is what you get back. That's the lesson, everybody. Whatever you put out, you get back. That is the plain and simple truth, everybody. And that's how it is, everybody. It's his friend was there for him, and he repaid him back by being there what he was going through too. Lost his family, all kinds of stuff went on, got divorced, things just got real messy for his friend. And he was there to support him. But the whole thing about all this is the phone number. Things happen, everybody. And all the stuff we're going through right now, all the stuff that's going on, still things go on. Things go on, and God, the friends that you have, it's everything. Family is everything. Friendship, the real true friends are the people who stand by you thick and thin. They're there for you. I thought it was a great story, and happens to be a true story, everybody. It is a true story, and the whole thing is friendship has no bounds. Basically, it has no bounds. Somehow he got that number and popped in his mind, and it was just till this day, they don't know how to explain it, but the number popped in his head. Other forces were at play here. And God was there. And anyway, it's a good story, everybody. I wanted to tell you the story. I get a little emotional about it because it really was. All of us have our friends, and we all have our moments, and we have friends that really stand by you, thick and thin. They're right there for you, really supporting you. And so it's a story. It's a good story, everybody. And so. It's a real emotional one too. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead, and it take a little longer here on this story, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign off as I always do. I hope your day is going well. It's a good story, everybody, and especially in these times and what's going on. Friends are everything. Family is everything. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I appreciate your time, and thanks again. Until the next video. Thanks again.